Good day from the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, and a good Saturday to all of our viewers around the world as we begin our coverage of the arrival of the unpiloted Progress 63 cargo craft to the International Space Station. Here in the Flight Control Room on a Saturday, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers is on duty, led by Flight Director Ed Van Cise. He, without a spacecraft communicator by his side, as is customary for a Saturday, which is typically an off-duty day for the U.S. orbital segment crew on the International Space Station, Van Cise, if required, will be talking directly to the crew on board the station today. This is an operation that will be controlled out of the Russian flight control room at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov, half a world away, outside of Moscow. The flight controllers there on duty, watching all of the data as the Progress slowly makes its way toward the International Space Station, now inside 10 kilometers away from its ultimate port of call, which will be the aft port of the Zvezda service module, to which it will automatically dock. The updated docking time provided this morning by the Russian flight control team is 1:01 p.m. Central Time, 2:01 p.m. Eastern Time. That will complete a two-day journey from the launch pad at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. At the moment, the International Space Station is flying 250 statute miles over the Chilean-Argentine border, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. This is a great view showing some of the vehicles that are currently at the International Space Station, and a view from the Progress itself as it continues its slow and methodical trek toward the International Space Station and its automated docking some 44 minutes from now.
Yeah, we're getting all settled in and getting ready for the Progress arrival. Please open page 19 of the RODF Tour book, page 4, docking undocking, using Tour mode. Let's perform step 4.1 and activate the TV assets. When you're done.
You're listening to Russian flight controllers in Korolyov talking to the Russian cosmonauts on board the International Space Station, particularly Yuri Malenchenko, who will be at the controls of the telerobotically operated control unit in the Zvezda service module in the highly unlikely event that the Corps' automated rendezvous system would experience a problem during the terminal phase of the rendezvous. On board the International Space Station, the 6 residents keeping a careful watch on activities as the Progress nears its arrival for docking to the aft port of the Zvezda service module. From left to right, Russian cosmonaut Alex Gripochka, NASA flight engineer Jeff Williams, and Alexei Ovchinin of Roscosmos. They arrived on board the International Space Station just 2 weeks ago following their launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, joining the Expedition 47 crew, which was already in progress. Tim Peake of the European Space Agency, the commander of the International Space Station, NASA's Tim Kopra, and on the far right, Malenchenko, the Roscosmos veteran, who is in his 6th flight in space. Just 2 days ago, at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, the Soyuz 2.1A booster with the Progress 63 cargo craft on top began its flight away from the launch pad, with the launch occurring at 11:23 a.m. Central Time, 10:23 p.m. at the Cosmodrome's Site 31 launch pad. The Soyuz booster lifted off right on time and began its 8-minute, 45-second trek to its preliminary orbit, the third stage separating from the Progress vehicle itself. The Progress seconds later deploying its solar arrays and navigational antennas. The Progress quickly disappeared into a bank of clouds over the Baikonur Cosmodrome. However, aloft some 250 miles above the planet, NASA flight engineer Jeff Williams took spectacular photos of the Progress, appearing almost like a comet as it made its way towards its preliminary orbit. He put that on his Twitter account, Astro_Jeff, with the words, "Fresh fruit is on the way," some of the best pictures taken from the space station during today's Progress launch. From the time that the Progress reached its preliminary orbit, all of its systems have functioned perfectly. This is the second flight of the Progress in the so-called MS, or Modified Systems configuration. Upgraded systems that includes a new rendezvous radar system, the Core's NA system, an upgraded satellite navigation system, additional micrometeoroid orbital debris shielding, and other communications upgrades that have so far checked out perfectly. This is the second flight of a Progress in its MS configuration. This, if all goes as planned in the final minutes before docking, should clear the way for the first launch of a crew on board a Soyuz MS, or Modified Systems vehicle. That will be the launch on June 21st of the next trio of residents to the station. That will include NASA flight engineer Kate Rubins, Soyuz commander Anatoly Ivanishin, and Takuya Onishi of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. They will be the pathfinders to fly on the first Modified Systems, or MS, configuration of a Soyuz vehicle, the Soyuz MS-01. This is, as we mentioned, the second weekend in a row of an arriving cargo vehicle at the International Space Station. A week ago, this coming Sunday, last Sunday, the Cygnus resupply vehicle arrived at the International Space Station, I should say last Saturday, 1 week ago today. It was grappled and berthed to the Earth-facing port of the Unity module of the International Space Station. Today, it's the Russian Progress vehicle's turn to link up automatically to the aft port of the Zvezda service module. And if all goes as planned, the SpaceX Dragon cargo craft will launch this coming Friday from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida, atop a Falcon 9 rocket, arriving at the International Space Station for its grapple and berthing to the parking space adjacent to where Cygnus is. That would be the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module of the International Space Station. 3 cargo ships arriving at the station in as many weeks, if all goes as planned, siphoning the collective expertise and resources of the international partnership and U.S. commercial partners to deliver some 12 tons of cargo to the international outpost. The International Space Station is currently flying just off the coast of the eastern coast of South America, just parallel to the coast of Brazil, as it makes its way from southwest to northeast, awaiting the arrival of the Progress vehicle that will dock some 38 minutes from now. The Progress is inside 5 kilometers away from the International Space Station, closing at a rate of about 9 meters per second. That rate will slow down considerably, and at the time of contact and capture to the aft port of the Zvezda service module, the Progress will be inching toward its docking port at about 1/10 of a meter per second. On board the Progress, 6,137 pounds of cargo, including 1,940 pounds of propellant, 110 pounds of oxygen, 926 pounds of water, and 3,161 pounds of dry cargo in the form of spare parts and other supplies for the Expedition 47 crew. The current plan, again, calling for the Progress to dock at 1:01 p.m. Central Time, 2:01 p.m. Eastern Time, after which the cosmonauts on board the International Space Station will conduct leak checks at the docking interface between the Progress and the Zvezda service module's aft port. Once those leak checks are confirmed to be good and we have a tight seal at that docking interface, Yuri Malenchenko later today will open up the hatch, the two hatches, one on the station side of that docking interface and then the Progress hatch, to enable him and his colleagues to begin unloading the 3 tons of cargo that the Progress has available and which will be unloaded in the days ahead. The Progress is approaching the 3-kilometer mark away from the International Space Station. Again, all of its systems functioning perfectly at this point. We are expecting the fly-around of the International Space Station by the Progress, which again is under automatic control, automated computer control, to begin about 14 minutes from now. This will align the Progress directly behind the aft port of the Zvezda service module at a distance of about 350 meters or so. There will be a brief period of station keeping to allow the Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center to have an opportunity to check out the Progress systems and the alignment of the forward docking probe to the docking port itself before the automated command is issued to begin final approach for contact and capture. And this view from external cameras on the International Space Station shows a tally-ho on the Progress resupply ship as it continues its inexorable approach for contact to the aft port of the Zvezda service module some 34 minutes from now. Again, all of the Progress systems, all of the modified systems and its upgrades of its telemetry, communication, and rendezvous systems have functioned by the book so far. No issues having been worked by the Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow. The arrival of the Progress 63 cargo ship will fill a 5th port at the International Space Station. 2 Soyuz vehicles, 2 Progress vehicles. The Progress 62 spacecraft that launched back in late December is currently mated to the Pirs docking compartment on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the station. And of course, the Cygnus cargo craft that is mated to the Earth-facing port of the Unity module come Sunday of next week, just 8 days from now, once the SpaceX Dragon cargo craft arrives. 6 docking ports will be occupied by a variety of vehicles, 4 Russian vehicles, 2 U.S. commercial resupply ships. That will equal the most number of vehicles ever at the International Space Station. That mark has been set before on several occasions, not recently, indicating the increased pace of cargo delivery to the space station in support of stepped-up activities on the research side of the International Space Station.
For radiogram 1833.
Хорошо, приняли. Выполняем. Включение режима.
Okay, copy. We're going to activate recording shortly.
The Progress now approaching the 1-kilometer mark away from the International Space Station, continuing a flawless approach so far. Again, the docking time, 1:01 p.m. Central, 2:01 p.m. Eastern Time, some 31 and a half minutes from now. This view now from the Progress external television camera and its engineering overlay in the lower left-hand corner showing the 1.7 kilometer distance, and underneath it the rate of closure, that being 4.2 meters per second as it stands right now. That range and of course the rate of closure will decrease considerably as we move on here in the next several minutes towards fly around and station keeping.
Proceed to page 21 and perform the test on that page right away. Copy. Torah activation command has been sent. It's been executed. I can confirm. Copy. Moscow Station. I'm on page 21. Test in progress. Copy, Yuri. Please keep us posted.
Yuri Malenchenko being advised by Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center on the progress of the command link test between the telerobotically operated rendezvous system that he has control over, if required, in the Zvezda service module. Again, that would only be used if the Corps' automated rendezvous system would experience a problem. So far, the Corps system is rock solid, bringing the Progress in for what is expected to be an automated docking less than 30 minutes from now.
Internal, external, blinking for BPS initial. Copy. Can you adjust the elbow wrists? The elbow rests? Copy. Done. And you are going to proceed with the attitude hand controller test. Copy. Moving it upwards to hard stop. 4 LEDs are illuminated. Letting go. 4 LEDs have been deilluminated. Row hand controller downwards to hard stop. 4 LEDs are lit. Released, and they're deilluminated. To the left, to hard stop. Yaw, 4 LEDs are lit, letting go. 4 LEDs have been deilluminated. Moving it to the right. Yaw, 4 LEDs are lit, letting go, and they are deilluminated. Moving it to the right. Counterclockwise, roll, 4 LEDs are lit. Moving it in the opposite direction, and they're deilluminated. To the right, to hard stop, 4 LEDs are lit. Moving it in the opposite direction, and they're deilluminated. Complete with the attitude hand controller test.
The Progress vehicle firing its thrusters in what are known as impulse burns, very slight fine-tuning burns to pinpoint the Progress's path to the International Space Station, putting it on the proper course for the fly-around that is expected to begin about 6.5 minutes from now.
The external LEDs are lit, internal as well. Moving it in the opposite direction, they're
900 meters now separating Progress from the International Space Station, closing at a rate of about 2 meters per second.
And they're deilluminated. To the right, to hard stop. Confirming the 4 LEDs being illuminated. Moving it in the opposite direction, and they're off. OFN. The switch for acceleration, 4 LEDs. Letting go of the
Yuri Malenchenko in the Zvezda service module, testing the Toru telerobotically operated system, the backup rendezvous system, should that become necessary, which of course at the moment it is not. It is simply there as a safeguard, as a backup system in case the Corps' automated rendezvous system would encounter an issue. Malenchenko first used such a system back in the mid-90s during his first flight to the Mir space station.
Letting go, and they are off. OFS. Step 4.2 is complete. Okay, you are going to perform step 4.3 for commanding from BPS panel. Copy. Step 4.3 in work.
Включаю БПС
Activating BPS initial.
Выдал БПС исходно.
And complete. Internal, external LEDs are lit, off, and they're off. Activating operational mode. You are go. Okay, operational mode has been activated. 4 LEDs lit. Activating AGC mode. Copy, and you need to play with the AGC mode until you get an acceptable enough image quality.
An excellent view of the International Space Station and of the progress from the International Space Station as we are getting great views. The two vehicles are flying in tandem. The Progress continuing its rate of closure for its automated docking as the two craft approach the west coast of Africa, soon to fly directly over Sierra Leone.
Yuri, there should be an interval of at least 5 seconds between AGC mode manipulations.
Хорошо.
Okay, copy.
Повторить?
Do I need to repeat? Yes, please. Repeat AGC mode step and get the best quality image as a result, please.
Хорошо.
Copy and work.
About an hour ago, Flight Director Ed Van Cise polled the team of flight controllers here in Houston and received a go for the Progress to proceed on for docking. He relayed that to his Russian flight director counterpart at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov. All systems continue to function normally on the Progress, which is loaded with 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the residents on board the International Outpost.
При выполнении задержки, в общем-то, изображение такое же, как я видел.
And yeah, I am getting the quality image that I'm expecting.
Есть, повторил.
Yeah.
This 2-day 34-orbit rendezvous of the Progress to reach the station was deliberately selected so that all of its upgraded MS or modified systems could be validated for a second time with the Progress 62 cargo craft back in December undergoing the same shakedown mission. So the Progress 63, the second in the series of MS vehicles, all of those systems functioning perfectly so far, should clear the way for the first launch of a crew on a Soyuz MS vehicle in June, as we mentioned before. That launch date for Kate Rubins, Anatoly Ivanishin, and Takoya Onishi planned for June 21st.
Views of station elements.
Flight controllers at the Russian Mission Controller report excellent data being received from the Corps' automated rendezvous system. This, again, an upgraded rendezvous radar system incorporated as part of the MS upgrades or the modified systems upgrades for the Russian vehicles. Again, you're looking at this engineering overlay external camera view from the Progress as it hones in on the International Space Station less than 400 meters away. And the fly-around of the International Space Station has now begun. This will align the Progress to the aft port of the Zvezda service module.
I can see that the vehicle is doing the fly-around right now, based on the image I'm getting. Copy. Yuri, as part of the automatic fly-around monitoring, you also need to keep an eye on the image. In case of the image quality deterioration, you'll need to go back to AGC mode. Okay, copy.
Как у вас данные курса с угловым размером станции?
How is the course data that you're getting? Is everything aligning? Yep, everything is aligning with the range ruler and the course data. Those two data sources are giving me identical values.
Принято.
Good reports from Yuri Malenchenko monitoring the approach of the Progress from the Zvezda service module at the International Space Station, and the Progress flying 250 miles over the Western African desert.
Using the large diameter of service module for reference. Copy.
.290 meters separating the two vehicles.
Еще напоминаю, вход в тень ориентировочно через 14 минут.
Yuri, we're about eclipse minus 14 minutes right now, more or less.
В 20:54.
The expected eclipse time is 20:54, 2054. Copy that.
Принял.
This Progress resupply ship will remain attached to the aft port of the Zvezda service module for about 6 months, providing maneuverability, reboost capability if required for the International Space Station. Again, the plan calls for the hatch to the Progress to be opened later today by Yuri Malenchenko, and for the cosmonauts on board the station to begin the unloading of some 3 tons of food and supplies for the residents on board the complex. The rate of closure has slowed to about 0.3 of a meter per second, about 225 meters separating the two vehicles. Nearing the end of the fly-around, about 45 degrees of fly-around remaining for the Progress. It'll put the brakes on for a short period of station keeping, once again allowing the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov to assess the precise alignment of the Progress to the aft port of the Zvezda service module.
Moscow Station. Station to ground one. The course data and the range ruler data are consistent. Everything is nominal. Copy that?
Принято. Продолжайте контролировать процесс
Copy.
автоматического.
Continue automatic approach monitoring, Yuri.
Возможно, досрочная выдача разрешения причаливания с ТБПС.
Yuri,
И напоминаю,
on MCCM Go, there's an option to give a preemptive
включаем работу, включаем формат 44. Затем отключаем команду работы.
Final approach command for BPS, just as a heads up. Okay, copy.
Контролировать облет.
Continue monitoring fly around.
Как наблюдаете станцию?
How is your station visual right now, Yuri?
Хорошо, наблюдаем
Good.
станцию. Она подсвечивается солнцем.
It's got some illumination from the sun. We cannot see the docking port. It's eclipsed, but we are getting a
Принято.
decent enough visual otherwise. Copy.
The fly-around is almost complete. The crew has been informed by the Russian flight controllers that if everything is proceeding normally, they do have the option of a manual initiation of the final approach if they wish. We'll see how that goes. You can see the thruster firings from the Progress as the Progress itself and the International Space Station, now separated by just 200 meters, approach an orbital sunset flying over northern Algeria. We should be receiving word momentarily that the fly-around is complete. The Progress has begun to brake.
We are watching the roll maneuver. We're in the docking board, docking cone. We're a bit to the port side of the docking port. Is our attitude right now? Okay, copy, Yuri. You are go to BPS panel and send BPS initial and send docking enable command from the panel. How copy? Copy, in work. BPS initial has been sent. Internal, external LEDs lit. Copy that. Display 44. Done. Internal, external LEDs. And I'm going to go ahead and deactivate operational mode. You are go.
This is Mission Control Houston. You've been listening to the continuing dialogue between Yuri Malenchenko inside the Zvezda service module and Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center, with everything in great shape on the Progress vehicle. The station keeping has been eliminated and final approach has begun. Progress now 150 meters away from the aft port of the Zvezda service module, to which it will automatically link up just a few minutes from now.
Copy.
Again, no need for station keeping today. The fly-around complete. The alignment of the Progress to the aft port of Zvezda having been evaluated and seen to be perfect. The final approach has been initiated. Progress moving in right now at about 0.7 of a meter per second, 125 meters separating the two vehicles.
Yeah, we're getting a good image right now, good view of the docking port. Copy and concur, Yuri. The course data are consistent with the visual reading of the station size. Rate nominal. Copy that.
This docking port that you're looking at in this view from the Progress's external camera was vacated this past Wednesday when the 61 Progress vehicle was undocked. Since then, it has moved to a safe distance away from the station for several days of engineering tests by the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov. It will be deorbited on Friday, April 8th, to burn up harmlessly over the Pacific Ocean.
Yuri, you are go to put step 20, page 23 into work and perform the abort command once we reach a range of 30 meters. Copy that.
Progress continuing a smooth approach for its docking to the aft port of Zvezda. Inside 70 meters.
Проходит дальность 60.
We're about to pass the range of 60.
Курс и визуальный
The visual and the course data are consistent.
Скорость
The rate is
0,28.
0.28, I think.
Вас понял. Продолжайте контролировать.
Copy. Continue final approach monitoring, Gary.
Принял.
Copy.
Проходим дальность 50, скорость 0,17.
Passing through 50 meter mark. The range is 0.17. Copy.
Everything going very well. Some 45 meters separating the two vehicles. The Progress's docking mechanism has now been powered up.
Docking port, visual. Very good. Centered.
Пока не наблюдаю.
We are not getting the visual on the docking target quite yet.
Подтверждаю.
We confirm SSVP ready status.
Через 2 минуты ожидаем вход в тень.
We are eclipse -2.
Принял.
Copy, Moscow.
The space station and Progress about to cross the border between Ukraine and southwest Russia at an altitude of 250 statute miles, everything proceeding normally for the automated docking of the Progress just a few minutes from now to the aft port of the Zvezda service module.
Подходит дальность 30.
Range 30.
Скорость
All
0,19.
systems are nominal.
Выдавать команды по странице 30.
We are getting ready to send command on page 30.
Команд по странице 20.
Copy and concur.
В дальности 30 метров.
Once you reach the range of 30, you will be go to send command on page 23. Right, page 23, that's what I meant.
Проходит дальность 30 метров.
Range 30
Выдаем команды.
and decreasing.
ДПС исходный.
Sending the BPS initial command. Internal, external LEDs
Ключи в
are
работу.
on. Operational mode on, ON. 4 LEDs are lit.
Отвод плюс X.
Отвод
Activating
выдано.
abort plus X, and it's on. LEDs blinked, and they are on, steady. Copy and concur. Continue.
The Corps' automated rendezvous system linking up perfectly with the comparable system on the aft port of the Zvezda service module. That will align the center of the crosshairs with the docking target that you see almost right at the crosshairs themselves. 30 meters now.
На мишени перекрестия совмещены.
The crosshairs are aligned, Moscow. The range
Курс
per course
совпадает с визуальным.
is consistent with the visual measurements.
Все штатно по
The range and the rate are nominal, no issues on any of the systems.
Продолжайте контролировать.
Copy. Please continue monitoring final approach.
Получили инструкцию. АО отведена.
We just had a flag that the antenna has been retracted.
Отведена.
Copy. Confirming the base AR and the antenna retract has also confirmed.
The Corps' antenna now has retracted as planned, 24 meters now separating the two. Perfect alignment between the Progress's docking probe and the docking port of the Zvezda service module.
Дальность 20.
Range 20.
Входим в систему нормы.
20 meters to go. Range rate of closure 1/10 of a meter per second as prescribed.
Принято, прошли дальность 20 метров.
Copy. We see that you have passed the 20-meter mark for range.
Проходим дальность 10 по данным курсу.
Based on the course, we are going past the 10-meter mark for range. Visually, it's a little less. Docking target is nominal. Yeah, you can ignore the course data from the range of 20 meters and closer. Copy.
Подходит дальность 4 метра.
Approaching 4-meter mark for range. Copy. Crosshairs are aligned nominally.
Скорость
Rate 0.1.
1/10 of a meter per second is the closure rate. Now just a handful of meters away
Approaching 2-meter mark.
as we stand by for contact and capture of the International Space Station.
No issues on any of the systems.
Принято, ожидать.
Copy, Yuri. Standing by for contact.
есть касание.
Contact confirmed.
Contact confirmed, capture confirmed.
Copy. We confirm that there is confirmation of both contact and soft capture, Yuri.
Ребят, мы вас поздравляем.
Docking confirmed at 12:58 p.m. Central Time, 1:58 p.m. Eastern Time. Docking occurring 250 miles over the capital of Kazakhstan, Astana.
Все, штанга пошла, ребят.
Progress completing a textbook 2-day transit from the launch pad at Baikonur to deliver 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies to the residents of the International Space Station.
That we are in the middle of a 2-minute LOS and the crew is not going to be copying. Oh, we're back.
Газ.
Station. Calling Moscow. We are back. After handover. Well, Yuri, congratulations on a successful docking. We're continuing the probe retraction monitoring, please.
The docking probe in the process of retracting that will form a hard mate between the two vehicles as soon as the hooks are closed. We'll stand by for confirmation of that.
Мы потихоньку переходим на 23-ю, на 27-ю страницу.
And ever so gradually, please move on to step 4.6 on page 27.
Выполнять действия по данной странице.
And you'll be performing the steps on the said page on MCCM Go, which you will receive additionally.
Once again, docking occurring at 12:58 p.m. Central Time, 1:58 p.m. Eastern Time, as the Progress 63 cargo craft linked up automatically to the aft port of the Zvezda service module 250 miles over Astana, Kazakhstan, completing a perfect 2-day rendezvous, testing all of the modified systems on the Progress and clearing the way for the first launch of the Soyuz MS-01 or Modified Systems Vehicle this coming June.
Let's go. When are we going to be go to perform step 2 per radiogram 1833? You are go, Yuri. You can put that step into work. Okay, copy. Thank you.
Информацию Москвы МКС.
Moscow Station for radiogram 1843.
Поэтому остановили запись.
Per step 5, we stop recording.
Верно, молодцы.
Okay, copy. Thank you so much. Great job, guys.
Можно завершать приложение.
You are go to close the application.
Приняли, выключаем приложение.
Copy. In work.
The docking probe on the Progress has almost completed its retraction. That will be followed by the closure of the hooks to form a hard mate between Progress and the aft port of Zvezda. The hooks are jiving closed as we speak. This is Mission Control Houston. We now have confirmation that the hooks are closed between the Progress and the aft port of the Zvezda service module. That completes the journey of the Progress from its launch pad at Baikonur 2 days ago, where it launched from, and now puts 5 different vehicles at the International Space Station, 2 Soyuz craft, 2 Progress craft, the orbital ATK Cygnus cargo craft. That quintet will be joined a week from now, next Sunday, April 10th, by the arrival of the SpaceX Dragon cargo craft to bring a half dozen different vehicles to the International Space Station. Dragon will mark the 3rd cargo craft in as many weeks to reach the station to deliver some 12 tons of cargo for the residents of the International Outpost. So again, to recap, a flawless 2-day rendezvous by the Progress 63 cargo craft as it automatically docked to the aft port of the Zvezda service module at 12:58 p.m. Central Time, 1:58 p.m. Eastern Time, as the 2 craft flew 250 statute miles over the capital of Kazakhstan, Astana. With that, we'll wrap up our coverage for today with one programming note. And just a reminder that later today, Yuri Malenchenko will be opening up the hatches between the International Space Station and Progress to begin the unloading of its 3 tons of food and supplies for the crew on board the complex. Our programming note, we invite you to join us on Monday, April the 4th, when we will recap all of the activities associated with the crew's weekend work to unload the Progress vehicle and all of the research activities that they will be involved in as the new work week begins on our Space Station live broadcast at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on NASA television. Until then, we wish you a good weekend. Progress safely docked and successfully docked to the aft port of the Zvezda service module, a textbook rendezvous for the unpiloted craft. Have a good weekend. This is Mission Control Houston.